is Andy Smith. Until losing his job last year, Andy Smith has spent his entire married life on an opposite work schedule from that of his wife. Sharon worked days, Andy worked nights. They saw each other only a few times a week and almost literally were passing ships in the night. It didn't help matters when Sharon started cutting into her time with Andy by occasionally meeting some of her girlfriends on Saturday nights for what they referred as Bernice night. Feeling left out and wanting to maximize his time with her, Andy asked Sharon if he could join her and the girls for Bernice night. Hesitantly, they agreed. In order to justify his inclusion with this otherwise all-girl group, Andy decided to entertain them with stories about Bernice's in his life. Tonight, Andy will share one of those stories, the first of a two-part speech which he entitles simply Bernice. Give it up.
Bernice Gist was a very special lady in my life. I had no way of knowing then, recognizing or appreciating what an incredibly interesting life this lady had led, or what a wonderful role model she was to me as I was growing up. But there's no denying the fact that she helped to shape the person that I am today. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, when I was 4 years old, my family moved from Michigan to Ormond Beach, Florida. The year was 1960. And in the years leading up to that point, my father had graduated from college. The next day, he married my mom. He was drafted into the Army. And by the time I was born, he was stationed in Germany. And he came back. He had the never-do-well role position of being the manager of a grocery store. It was a position that he hated. In time, he had enough of it, and he packed up the family and he moved to Florida, where he went into business for himself. Now, my grandfather helped him get his start, but the fact of the matter is, we had no money. Times were tough. My dad struggled a lot, sometimes taking on a second job to help make ends meet. Also, we were also frequently on the verge of bankruptcy. It got to the point where Dad needed some help, and the family needed a second income, so he hired my mom to do sales for him. We were not, as I said, a well-to-do family, but with Mom taking on a full-time role, somebody needed to clean the house, and so we were forced to hire a maid. And that's where Bernice came into our lives. Bernice Gist was a smart, slender, divorced woman, the mother of 2 daughters. She was principled, she was personable, she was very hardworking. At the time she came into our lives, she was as honest and honorable as the day is long. But make no mistake, Bernice Gist was not a proud black woman. Bernice Gist was a proud woman, period. End of story, except this is not the end of her story. She lived in a small wood-framed house that her husband, Jimmy Gist, had built from materials that white folk wouldn't sell him the materials for, or if they did, they sold it to him at inflated prices. The address was 181 South Washington Street in what was then a decidedly segregated Ormond Beach. It was the same address that my mother would drive across the bridge to pick her up on Tuesday mornings and bring her back to our house for the day's work, which would include vacuuming, and dusting, scrubbing the kitchen, scrubbing the bathroom, doing God knows how much laundry for us, all the time, all the while she'd be watching Days of Our Lives, General Hospital, The Edge of Night, or whatever particular soap happened to be on at that hour. At the end of the day, my mother would pay her $20, which today is not much money, but back then, it also was not much money. But here's the thing, Bernice Gist paid her bills, and she also put both of her daughters through college by herself. This was Bernice Gist. She was born Bernice Anderson on December 22nd of 1912. She was the daughter of James and Bessie Anderson, who were from South Carolina, from farming backgrounds. And Bernice happened to be the last of their 9 children, 2 of whom died before she was even born. According to the 1910 U.S. Census, the Andersons were described as being mulattoes, which would suggest that they were not just the descendants of slaves, but possibly of slave owners as well. Bernice did not live her entire life in Florida. She was born there and she died there, but when she was in her 20s, she lived in Manhattan, where she worked for a New York Wall Street stockbroker by the name of Jack Bouvier and his wife, Janet Bouvier, taking care of their 2 young daughters, Jacqueline and Lee. Jacqueline Bouvier was born in July of 1929, and she was named Jacqueline for her father, Jack, which coincidentally was also the same nickname that would be the nickname of her future husband and future president, Jack Kennedy. Bernice would describe the Bouvier family as being dysfunctional. Shortly after Jacqueline was born, there was the Wall Street crash of October 1929, and it took a huge financial toll on the Bouvier family. Jack was a gambler, he was a drinker, and he was also known for his extramarital affairs. And by the time Jacqueline was 7 years old, the Bouviers had separated, and 4 years later they divorced. Caught in the vortex of all of this was Bernice. As it turned out, both spouses wanted Bernice to testify precisely the same thing against the other parent, which was that each of them were having extramarital affairs. But as Bernice would explain to the lawyer, she didn't know anything about any affairs. It was none of her business. But my mom would tell you, based on conversations she had with Bernice, that Bernice knew precisely what was going on in that house. But it was one of those hear no evil, see no evil kind of things. And in the end, Bernice wanted nothing to do with any of it. And so she packed her bags and she left for Florida, but not before getting a letter of recommendation from Janet Bouvier, which she took back to Florida. According to Bernice's grandson, Michael, Bernice could have remained in the safe and desegregated confines of Long Island, New York, but instead she made the choice to move back to her family in Ormond Beach, Florida, a deeply segregated town where she kept her family grounded in the ideals of family, trust, treating people with respect. Bernice Gist was all of these things and much more.